Next, we have Fission 3.0, and this is an interesting opportunity. I think we're all aware of the discovery by Fission 1.0, I guess, of the Patterson Lake South discovery. Already, I guess easily one of the top 5 uranium discoveries ever made and still open. What you have an opportunity to do with Fission 3.0 is get the same team using the same methods, the same recipe for success, but at a much earlier stage. And Ross McElroy, who's just living a geologist's dream these days, will tell you all about what their efforts are now.
Thank you, Brian, and it's a pleasure to be able to present Fission 3 to you this morning, and thank you very much for taking time out of your busy Saturdays to come here and listen to this story. There's your typical forward-looking statements, just in case I happen to say anything that does step forward. For Fission shareholders, and I guess basically people that have followed the Fission story over the last several years, Fission 3 represents what's next. As Brian's already mentioned, we were born out of another company called Fission Uranium Corp. So Fission 3 is basically a year and a half old. And it's an acquirer of new properties, and we do all this through staking of our own ground. We understand it's in the Athabasca Basin primarily, and it's an area that we understand very well, and we've been actually quite successful. I think we've been the most successful uranium explorer and discoverer up there, and that's even when compared against the major companies such as Cameco and Arivas. So we've got a very tremendous track record of turning grassroots exploration targets into discoveries. Plus, we've also been able to monetize these by selling assets. So think of us as the way Fission 3 works, we're staking ground, and then we hope to make discoveries. We've certainly built a team that's capable of doing so, and then we would sell that asset to a major company. So the one way that we want to approach this, though, is as a project generator. What we'll tend to do is look for other partners that want to partner with Fission, where Fission is the operator, and we use our expertise in discoveries to advance those projects forward. So that really minimizes our dilution. We don't have to keep going back to the market to raise money. We've been pretty successful at that so far. In fact, both of our discoveries that we've had in previous versions of Fission have been through joint venture partnerships that way. So it's something that we've worked on, and we continue. We like that model. So why do we look in the Athabasca Basin to begin with? And it's really a function of grade. The uranium is not a rare element. In fact, it's one of the most abundant elements in the Earth's crust. But the Athabasca Basin, which is primarily in northern Saskatchewan, is a unique geologic environment. The grades of deposits in the Athabasca Basin are richer than anywhere else on the planet. When you're talking about deposits that grade generally 1.5% to 2% on average, so I know there's been a lot of talk in the gold. I think more people here are familiar with gold. Equate that to over an ounce per ton on an average grade of deposit, not an intersection of a hole, but the overall deposits, and that's really what the Athabasca brings. As far as jurisdictional risk, it's the best place to be looking for uranium in the world. In fact, the Fraser Institute ranked Saskatchewan as the #2 district worldwide for mining investment and #1 in North America. So it's an area that we're very comfortable in. They understand the uranium business. They support development of uranium mines. And as I already mentioned, the geologic reasons for being there are pretty obvious. They're extremely high-grade deposits. That's the carrot, very high-grade, rich deposits. The trick is that they're very difficult to find. And the other thing is, too, although there may be a lot of deposits in the Athabasca Basin found over the last 30 or 40 years, a lot of them have been very, very deep. So our discovery at PLS, for example, is something that hadn't been seen for the last 30 or 40 years, which is a shallow, high-grade deposit. And you'll notice if you look at this chart, that high-grade shallow deposits have already been mined out. So what we want to do is, in Fission 3, we continue to stake ground that fits this model. We're looking for shallow deposits, not deep ones. So here's a picture of the Athabasca Basin. Currently in Fission 3's portfolio, I think we've got 24 properties now. We continue to grow. In fact, probably every week or every month, I'm adding new properties to the portfolio. So it's an ever-changing map. But these green areas represent our claim blocks and our properties. And you'll notice that what they do is they rim around the Athabasca Basin. So the way it works is, think of the Athabasca Basin as a big bathtub. It's deep in the middle and it's shallow around the edges. In the middle, you'd be looking for deposits that are typically over 1 kilometer deep. So for us, we want to find deposits that are shallow, and that's where we've really built a portfolio of properties. So we want to be able to make the next discoveries, such as we've done on the PLS property that you see to the southeast part of the basin. The blue areas are projects that we've already have joint venture partnerships with. So these are ones that we're actively exploring. And I'll just quickly highlight those ones. There's the property to the north, PLN, that we have a relationship with Azincourt. So they're earning in to this property. And on the Clearwater south, immediately adjacent to PLS, is one that we have with Canex. And on the eastern side of the Athabasca Basin and the Key Lake property areas is a company called Aldrin that's formed a joint venture with us. These are companies that are funding to earn in an interest into the properties. So one of the things that we've been able to do, we filed a patent on a airborne radiometric survey that we think is, well, it was key to the discovery at PLS, and we think it's going to be key to further discoveries in the Athabasca Basin on our other properties. This is a unique airborne radiometric system that allowed us to pinpoint within a few meters the high-grade boulders sitting on surface that we were able to trace back to the source, and that's how we found the RRR deposit. It's a system developed by a company in Calgary and jointly with ourselves as well. So it's something that we can employ with all of our projects, and that sits in the Fission 3.0 assets. This is a quick highlight on the property immediately to the north of our PLS property. So this is a PLN. We've already discovered a mineralized trend up there, so it's something that it's drill ready. We've had a few holes already, but we think this is 1 or 2 holes away to a new discovery. In fact, we've already seen good mineralization there. For us, it's always a matter of vectoring in. That's how our discovery at Waterbury was, our discovery at PLS. It's basically the way things are found here. You find yourself inwards to the system of these high-grade cores, and that's where we think that this has that kind of appearance. Immediately south, we've got the Clearwater West property, and again, drill-ready property. We'll be, we hope to be drilling by July or August this year. So Canex is currently funding this property, so look to us to have about 10 holes on here too. And these are the same sort of trends of which the main RRR deposit is on, and we have these same appearances on the Clearwater. On the eastern side, this is a much more mature area. This is where all of Canada's production currently comes from. And the Key Lake area is one of the first deposits in the Athabasca Basin. So our properties are immediately south of the basin area, and we think this is an area that it's had some historic work, but we think with a new set of eyes and our special techniques that we have, it'll lead to future discoveries. So again, it's a project somebody else is funding. We'll advance it, and we hope to be drilling there within 6 months to a year. This is a team that's already made money for shareholders. What we tend to do is we'll find an asset, build it up, sell it off, and it's the same group. And this is really what we're continuing with the same model in Fission 3.0. So the same award-winning team that's been able to make shareholders money over the last 7 years in Fission. The financial health of the company, we've got a market cap of close to $19 million. Significantly, we have a treasury of $5 million, and as I mentioned, with our model, staking is a very inexpensive way to acquire ground, but you have to know what it is you're after. But for us, it's really joint venture partners that are providing the funding, so minimal dilution to us. So that $5 million is not being used heavily in through exploration. So we have a good treasury. We're very well capitalized compared to other peers in our group, and we think that we're in for the long term, which we really are believers in the uranium sector. We think that the bull in the uranium market is probably about 1 to 2 years out. So with our land package and this team driving it forward, I think Fission 3 is very well situated to make the new discovery, the next discovery in the Athabasca Basin. And I think with that, my 10 minutes is up. So thank you very much. Come by the booth and talk to us.